In the depths of the Amazon rainforest, a young jaguar cub finds itself in grave danger. A huge python, hungry for its next meal, suddenly attacks the cub and starts wrapping its body around it. As the snake tightens its grip, it seems like the cub's fate is sealed. But just when everything seems hopeless, an unlikely rescuer appears from the thick jungle. A curious 6-month-old jaguar cub wanders away from its mother's sight in the heart of the Amazon. The jungle's noises hide the approaching threat until a sharp hiss fills the air. In an instant, a giant python springs forward, trapping the cub in its strong coils. The cub's desperate cries echo through the forest as the snake squeezes tighter, almost sealing its fate. But the python doesn't know that its victory isn't guaranteed. Elsewhere in the jungle, a legendary jaguar wakes up. This battle-worn, golden-furred cat with black spots has ruled this area for over 10 years. He knows every tree, stream, and secret path, making him a top hunter and protector. Years of survival have sharpened his skills, earning him a fierce reputation that stretches beyond his territory. Meanwhile, Dr. Chelsea Barnes, an anthropologist with an unwavering passion for the Amazon, was engrossed in her research nearby. Her years of living among indigenous tribes had given her an almost supernatural connection to the forest. She could read the jungle like an open book, understanding its rhythms and secrets. As the cub's distress calls pierced the air, both the old jaguar and Chelsea were jolted into action. The seasoned predator began making his way toward the sound, while Chelsea, driven by instinct and compassion, grabbed her medical kit and ventured into the dense undergrowth. The stage was set for an unexpected convergence of fates. In the depths of the Amazon rainforest, the veteran jaguar raced towards the cub's cries, moving with silent agility through the jungle. As he burst into a small clearing, he witnessed a horrifying scene: a massive python constricting a young jaguar cub, its life ebbing away with each squeeze. Without hesitation, the older jaguar attacked. The python, sensing the new threat, tightened its grip on the cub. A fierce battle ensued as predator faced predator. The jaguar's powerful jaws clamped down on the snake's body while his claws raked its scales, drawing blood. The python fought back viciously, its head striking out with lightning speed. For a moment, the snake's coils loosened around the cub, and the older jaguar seized the opportunity, positioning himself protectively over the gasping youngster. The fight grew fierce, turning into a deadly struggle of strength and tactics. The jaguar aimed for weak spots, while the python tried to trap its new enemy. At one point, the snake coiled around the jaguar's back leg, but the big cat's quick moves and strength helped him break free. With a powerful bite to the snake's middle, the jaguar gained the upper hand. Hurt and realizing it couldn't win, the snake began to retreat. The jaguar stood over the cub, ready in case the snake returned, but the python slithered away into the jungle. The forest became quiet again, except for the jaguar and cub's heavy breathing. Though danger still loomed, the cub's life was safe for now. Dr. Chelsea Barnes pushed through the thick Amazon jungle, moving quickly and carefully. She used her machete to cut through vines and branches as she navigated the rough path. The slippery mud and hidden roots made it tricky, but her experience kept her steady. The cries of distress pushed her forward. The jungle was full of dangers. A group of monkeys screeched above, and painful ant bites reminded her of the risks around. Chelsea kept going, crossing a narrow stream on a fallen log and avoiding a caiman resting nearby. As she got closer to the noise, she heard the roars of a jaguar. Her heart raced as she finally reached a small clearing by the river. The scene before her was both magnificent and terrifying. An older jaguar stood protectively over a young cub while a massive python retreated into the underbrush. But the drama was far from over. Driven by desperation, the python suddenly lunged back towards the cub. Its powerful coils once again wrapped around the young jaguar, squeezing with renewed vigor. The cub's cries grew weaker as the older jaguar leaped into action with fierce determination. The adult jaguar attacked the python's head, attempting to break its hold on the cub. His powerful jaws clamped down on the snake's neck, shaking violently in an effort to snap its spine. The python thrashed wildly, fighting to dislodge its relentless attacker. Chelsea stood at the edge of the clearing, her mind racing to find a way to intervene safely in this primal battle. In a final decisive moment, the jaguar clamped down on the python's head with devastating force. The snake's body went limp, its threat finally neutralized. As the dust settled, Dr. Chelsea Barnes cautiously emerged from the underbrush. The older jaguar eyed her warily but allowed her to approach. Chelsea knelt beside the injured cub, noting the severe constriction marks. Recognizing the urgency, she immediately began administering first aid. Working swiftly, Chelsea cleaned the cub's wounds and stemmed the bleeding. She offered water and monitored its labored breathing while the older jaguar stood vigil, emitting soft, encouraging growls. Gradually, the cub's condition stabilized, its eyes fluttering open. Chelsea carefully examined the cub for broken bones, finding none. She administered electrolytes to aid recovery and continued to speak soothingly to the young jaguar. The cub's breathing slowly normalized, signaling the end of the immediate crisis. Tired but relieved, Chelsea moved back to the edge of the clearing. Watching the two jaguars, she realized that this wasn't just a random encounter. The older jaguar was protecting his cub. Packing her medical supplies, she felt grateful to witness this rare moment of family connection. Though the cub still needed time to recover, she felt confident it would survive, thanks to both her help and the jaguar's protection. Normally, the older jaguar would keep to himself, but he showed a surprising gentleness, caring for the cub's wounds. This rare display of fatherly care revealed a softer side to the jaguar. As Chelsea watched, she noticed their fur patterns, which reminded her of ancient tribal stories she'd heard. The cub's unique spots looked like a constellation described in local legends, a mythical jaguar with star-like markings. Chelsea's excitement grew as she realized the importance of her discovery. When she shared this with the tribe she studied, the elders reacted with deep respect. They explained that the older jaguar was not just any animal. They saw him as a guardian spirit of the forest. His presence, they said, was a sign of nature's balance. This new understanding helped Chelsea see how her work connected with both science and local culture. She realized her role was not just to study the forest, but also to help preserve its wisdom and the traditions of its people. The following day, Chelsea returned to the clearing to find the father jaguar and the cub joined by a female jaguar. In a daring move, she slowly approached the brute. To her amazement, the older jaguar allowed her near enough to touch the cub's fur. In that moment, an extraordinary bond seemed to form between them: the protective father, the resilient cub, the watchful female, and Chelsea, the compassionate caretaker. Their convergence felt like a remarkable twist of fate, uniting them in a shared purpose that transcended the boundaries between human and animal worlds. As twilight descended, Chelsea's mind wandered to the tribe she had come to know intimately. She contemplated their profound reverence for nature, their belief in the jaguar's spiritual guardianship, and their deep understanding of the delicate ecological balance that sustained their way of life. Her recent experiences had illuminated the intricate connections between wildlife, indigenous cultures, and the environment in ways she hadn't previously imagined. The Amazon was no longer just a setting for her research. It had revealed itself as a living, breathing entity, teeming with ancient wisdom and untold stories. Jaguars, she now understood, were not mere predators but vital symbols of strength and protection, intricately woven into the cultural tapestry of the indigenous people. As night fell, Chelsea packed up her things to head back to the village. She looked one last time at the father jaguar and the cub, amazed at how events had unfolded. The rescue was more than survival. It revealed deep connections and unexpected insights. Meeting the jaguar's wise gaze, she whispered, "You came to the rescue." The jaguar blinked and turned to the cub. Smiling, Chelsea knew she'd never forget this moment. At the clearing's edge, she realized how complex and connected life truly is. We've shared an incredible story of survival in the Amazon. Now, we want to hear from you. Have you ever had a memorable experience in nature? Tell us in the comments. We'll be back with more stories soon. Until then, keep exploring and stay curious.